Black Ops 7 killed the potential this franchise had. Omni movement turned multiplayer into a joke. The campaign was forgettable before it even finished, and the rank play just died. 2 years of Call of Duty that didn't feel like Call of Duty. MW4 drops October 23rd, Infinity Ward's calling it the last Modern Warfare, and it's based on sources that might actually back that up. But there are features from this franchise's best years that still haven't come back, features that will completely change how this game feels. This is every single one of them. Let's kick things off with Theater Mode. Theater Mode has been gone from Infinity Ward games since MW3. That's 15 years of incredible moments that only exist in kill cams at a bad angle. BO6 had it. BO7 had it. Every time Treyarch shipped it, the content side of the community exploded. There are trick shot compilations, clutch plays, and amazing edits. And for 15 years, anyone who wanted to properly capture a moment needed a capture card and third-party software just to get what used to ship with the game. The gap this leaves is bigger than most people talk about. Theater Mode isn't just a content clipping tool, it's the thing that turns a great match into a story. You can actually tell. You can go back in, you can find the angle, you can get what's happening on the other side of the wall when you made that call. The good news is it's coming back, and MW4 confirmed it. Infinity Ward is bringing it back specifically because it was one of the most requested features across the entire Modern Warfare reboot era. Now let's talk about it. If this ships with full match replay and multiple camera angles, the content side of the community is going to blow up. Clips that would have lived and died in a kill cam are going to become videos. That's a big deal for how long a COD cycle stays alive, and Infinity Ward knows it. Now let's talk about the most important, classic prestige. BO1 and BO2 prestige meant something. You hit max level, you reset everything, and you started over with a symbol next to your name that told everyone exactly how serious you were about the game. The Modern Warfare reboot killed that. Seasonal rank meant you leveled up on a track, and prestige markers became cosmetic checkpoints. Nothing was at stake. You didn't choose to reset. The system just moved you forward automatically. Take away the reset and you take away the moment. The BO1 prestige was a decision. You were voluntarily giving up your loadouts because the symbol on the other side meant more to you than convenience. The decision is what gave prestige its weight. Without it hitting max level in MW 2019 or MW3 2023 felt like finishing a loading screen. Good news, MW4 is bringing both back. Classic Prestige resets your creator class and gives you faster XP plus exclusive rewards. Regular Prestige lets you keep your unlocks and still progress through Prestige levels. Both paths feel like they mean something. That's the first time an Infinity Ward game has had Prestige system worth caring about since 2011. Anyway, the full breakdown of more MW4 multiplayer is coming soon, so subscribe so you don't miss any updates. Now let's talk about the actual gunplay. Black Ops 2's gunplay was the cleanest this franchise has ever been. Every weapon had a readable recoil pattern, every gunfight came down to positioning and aim. The TTK was fast enough to punish mistakes, but slow enough that you had a moment to react. The Modern Warfare reboot drifted from that. MW2 2022 had sluggish movement and gunfights that felt like they punished aggression. MW3 2023 overcorrected. BO6 added Omni movement, and the whole thing became about who could dive sideways faster. When the outcome of the gunfight stops being about where you aimed and starts being about which movement exploit you pulled off, the game's core loop breaks. Aim-based games need aim to matter. The moment players feel like they lost because of a mechanic instead of a mistake, they stop feeling invested into getting better. MW4 is removing bloom entirely. Your bullets go where your reticle points. No random spread, no RNG on hipfire. They rebuilt recoil from scratch under a new system called Ballistic Authority. And they've brought back standard movement with new options for mantling, hanging, and climbing without the Omni movement system that made BO6 and BO7 feel like a different genre. Good news, that's BO2's DNA applied to a 2026 engine. Readable aim-based punishing in the right ways. The gunplay in MW4's multiplayer hands-on sessions was described as the most precise the franchise has felt in years. After 2 Black Ops titles where movement exploits decided half the gunfights, that's exactly what this game needed to be. A campaign with actual direction, Black Ops 1's campaign is still one of the best in the story the franchise has ever told. Psychological warfare, Cold War paranoia, and a twist that actually reframed the entire game you just played. It committed to a whole tone and it held a whole runtime. MW3 2023 went the opposite direction. Open world sandbox missions where you handed a list of objectives and left to do them in whatever order you want. Sounds good in a pitch meeting. In practice, it produced some of the emptiest missions in the franchise's history. Players finished it in 5 hours. The campaigns before it, MW 2019 especially, were dark, directed, and memorable. MW3 2023 threw that out. A campaign that doesn't commit to a direction doesn't land. Set pieces needed directed missions around them to build stakes. Otherwise, they're just spectacle without nothing attached to it. MW3 2023 had great moments and a structure that made them impossible to care about. MW4 has 13 missions across 3 acts: Korea, New York, Paris, and Mumbai. 2 protagonist threads, Price's off-book missions, and a new squad of South Korea and US Marines that collide before the end. Infinity Ward's campaign director said they want every other mission to feel meaningful and different from the last one before it. That's the structure that made the original MW2 campaign work. Black Ops 1 built tension by withholding information and making you question what you already knew. MW4 built around 2 narratives converging, different stakes, different scale, same war. If the writing matches the structure, this is the best campaign Infinity Ward has shipped since MW 2019. After the disaster of MW3 2023, getting the structure right was the first thing they had to fix. They fixed it. DMZ that actually works. The original DMZ launched in 2022, and it had a real idea behind it. Extraction shooter inside Call of Duty, faction-based missions, gear you could actually lose, the kind of tension that only exists when dying in a match costs you something. The execution fell apart. Weapon cooldown timers killed the flow, faction missions ran dry, and once Warzone started pulling all the attention, DMZ got treated like a side project. It shut down in 2024 without ever being what it clearly could have been. Black Ops 4's Blackout had the same problem. A genuinely good mode that Treyarch walked away from before it found its calling. Call of Duty has had a history of shipping something interesting and abandoning it before it finished. DMZ was the most recent example of that, and the community that built up around it felt it hard when the servers went dark. MW4's DMZ is a full rebuild. The map is called Hajin, a Korean extraction zone shaped by the events of the campaign. There's a persistent forward operating base you upgrade over time, a 3D printer crafting system for gear, cash-driven weapon customization, story missions, dynamic operations, proximity chat, and a PvP bounty system. Infinity Ward is calling it a definitive extraction experience. With all that said and done, the structural problems that killed the original are fixed. Gear now comes from in-game economy and crafting instead of cooldown timers. Progression is persistent to match the map is built to support the mode. Instead of being repurposed from somewhere else, whether it's MW4's DMZ hits the ceiling, gets abandoned again, is a different question. But the foundation is the strongest it's ever been.